Good morning, Trek CC folks. Welcome to the July 2023 meeting of the Board of Directors. I am Maggie Geppert, current chair, Jadzia Dax-8 on the boards. We have with us, just going around what I see, we have Tiark Ott, our Director of Second Edition, Justin Ford, the CFO, Charlie Plain, our Director of First Edition, and Brian Schaefline, our Director of Operations. Chris Sonstaby is our Director of Organized Play, and he just realized, oh yeah, this morning he has his regional, so the Minnesota regional is going on right now. And then Daniel Madison was not feeling well this morning, so he has bowed out, but we still have quorum, so we will soldier on. All right, good morning, gentlemen. It's good to see you. So I'm going to take a moment. I'm going to copy this link into the Trek CC. And let's see, post that here. All right, so as I said, it's good to see everybody today. There we are. So set and moving through. So I'll be able to see the chat if it pops up. Okay. Well, let's get started. So meeting agenda today, we're starting with the approval of the minutes. I read through the minutes. I didn't see anything that was tripping any that didn't look right on it. So can I have anybody have any amendments that need to be made to the meeting minutes?
No, it all looked right to me.
Okay, so can I get a motion to approve?
Oh, motion.
Yep.
Second?
Yes.
All right, so all voting to approve minutes, aye.
Aye.
Awesome. All right, so department reports next on the agenda. I'll start off as executive officer. My big work this since our last meeting has just been plugging away at making promos. So I've got all the organized play promos done, including the world's promos. Those are just finished the other day. Yay, vacation. I've got some new ambassador promos here that I'm working on now. So Par Lenore is our ambassador this year. So we've got some lovely high-res pictures for all of our Ferengi fans of Par Lenore who did not previously have a good picture. So that's looking awesome. But of course, and as usual, my personal favorite is the Tribble.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
So it's if you're not sure what this is the original image I didn't think was all that fun, and I'm like, oh no, because it wasn't a Par Lenore image. So this is 10,000 exchange, and so there's Par Lenore trying to get into whatever the egg thing is that was holding Kamala in the perfect mate. So the egg is now holding all the Tribbles, which I think is wonderful. So that's what that's the big thing that I've been up to. Besides, just sort of running events. We're still running the return. I'm still running Return to Farpoint alongside Brian Sykes, who is running the Return to Talos 4 series, and I ran a second edition release event for Second Chances, which just wrapped up. I actually have to put in the last round. No, I did just put in the last round results. So that's all put to bed for that release event. So just been running stuff, playing stuff, trying to think about the thing that's on the new business that we'll get to a little later. But yeah, that's my report for right now. So, any questions about anything I've been working on? Okay. All right, so let's move over to first edition. Charlie, tell us what's up in first edition.
Good morning. Not much has changed actually since our last meeting. We are still very, very, very working hard. I said that in the wrong order. We are working very, very hard behind the scenes on quite a few projects. But we haven't really put anything out since then, although that is about to change soon. But I won't spoil that. I'll let that come up on the front page soonish. Yeah, and we've got 2 expansions that are headed towards release through the end of the year, and then we've got tons of stuff for next year getting worked through the pipeline, and then we've got all of our 30th anniversary surprises working for 2024. We are doing a lot of internal, for lack of a better word, auditing. Basically, we're going through all of our processes and our longstanding decisions and reviewing them and questioning them where appropriate. And, why do we do, somebody was recently like, why do we release expansions on Fridays and errata on Monday? Shouldn't there be a consistent day? And we were talking through all of that and did some research and figured out that, yeah, there's good reasons to do new releases on Friday because they're not legal till a week later. And errata on Monday, because if you did errata on Friday, you would piss off a lot of people that had tournaments that weekend. And to be fair, that still happens releasing it on Monday, but at least there's some time in there to make an adjustment. But we're doing all that kind of stuff. We're looking at how we make cards. We're looking at sizes of sets. We're looking at all the things that we do, just sort of a process of making sure we're making the best decisions and the decisions that we have make sense. And that isn't going to lead to a lot of short-term results, but will lead to a lot of longer-term improvements and upgrades, which we hope you appreciate. The biggest concern amongst our department is getting our volunteer rewards squared away, in particular our playtesters. But everybody. And when we can sort that out, I think we'll see some morale improvements, and then we can do a big recruiting push to get more people to look at the stuff that we're doing. And for Tribbles, we have a Tribble set that is still mostly ready. We just need some more eyes on it. So if you out there are willing to build a couple decks with some new Tribbles cards and play them and tell us what you thought, please let me know, because that's really the only thing holding that up at this point. So sorry, there's not a lot more details here for you, but that's where we're at. So any questions from my fellow board members?
How close do you think you are to the August 14th special errata release? Do you think that's going to happen?
Very likely. Obviously, we have North American Continentals in the books, and we'll be looking at those results. And then the weekend before that is Kaiserfest, so we'll be keeping an eye on that. Anything that pops up at Kaiserfest or European Continentals, I don't think we'll have time to errata, but we may have to, issue a ban or something. But we have a couple cards that we are really trying to get back in the environment, and they're in front of testers now, and they're being tested. And if I've made it very clear that we're not going to rush and put something out that we're not 100% confident in. So if we're trying to get a couple cards back and we're just not 100% sure they're or as confident as we can be, because you can never be 100%, we won't do them. But we are hoping to put out a few more cards that didn't quite make July's cut on that special release window. And then that'll be it until October, barring some horrific emergency. like the temporal narcosis thing from earlier in the year. That was an emergency. So,
Yeah, like who? Yeah, no, a card nobody had ever used suddenly became, oh, somebody had an idea and they realized I could do X with that. So
that's the
hopefully,
joy of Winnie. So,
Yep.
so many cards that interact in so many ways. But yeah,
I was there's a new person hanging out on the dojo Discord was talking about printing out all the cards, and I'm like, you don't want to do that. He's like, well, why not? And I'm like, because there's 4,000 of them in each edition. And he's like, oh, I thought there were just a couple hundred.
I thought
Like,
when he
no.
passed 5,000.
we're up
Yeah.
there. I still think Decipher has more than the CC has made, but I haven't checked that in a while. For Winnie, I can't speak for second edition.
I think Decipher's like 2,400, something like that.
Anyway, that's my report, and I will stop talking now.
All right, thanks, Charlie. All right, next is Chuck with second edition.
Yeah, there's nothing new like in Wani that has come out. Now it is coming out. Second Chances is out 5 weeks or 6 weeks. We are working on the next expansion, which is called Shackleton, and the playtest file hasn't been updated for a while, but we will have a new updated version, I guess, on what is it? 31s, Monday, 31s, yeah. 31s, last day of the month. There will be a new updated version for maybe last round of testing. This is a set just about missions, and we just switch a little things. I think this is very safe, and it gives us enough time for 1-2 rounds of play testing, and after that, beside these cards from Sanctuary that are a project which are just 4 or 5 cards we want to test, but we have a version to test, then I guess now it's July, August, September, maybe at the beginning of October, maybe end of October, we will see the first version of Weedians if everything runs the way I planned it. Yeah, so this year I want to go to playtesting with the new affiliation, and we planned a couple of rounds of playtesting cycles. It will be interesting. I haven't looked in the set for a while. From time to time I look, but I'm fully confident in my designers, and we will see. And this will be a test, and if Weedians will be successful, we will discuss the next, as a long time project, the next new affiliations. I guess Ross started a poll, what do you want to see in TUI? And I just get a little feedback a few weeks ago, so that when we made the Weedians run as a long time project, the next affiliation goes to design, but that is normally a time we need 1.5-2 years to make that run. Yeah, we have a lot of project behind the scenes we are working on, so I think every weekend I have a meeting with designers of sets, talking about cards, ideas, and so on. So a lot of things going, like Charlie said, behind the scenes, a lot of work. But for this year, it's just Shackleton at the moment, coming as the next set, and then it will be Weedians going to testing. And because I expect more time for testing for the Weedians, it might be that we test 2 sets at the same time, starting with the Weedians first, let them run for a quarter of a year, getting the first feedback, and then have another set for testing at the same time, just to see how long it really takes to make the Weedians run. But in my plan, it is Weedians is a quarter of a year away from now to show up. Yeah, that's all from my side.
Okay. Thank you, Chuck. So next we've got communications, which is Daniel. He says not much is going on. So but I would like to, I know Daniel was doing a lot of tweeting during North American Continentals. So there was, so he was working with he was doing social media stuff while we were, while we were down there or out there playing. So thanks to Daniel for doing that communications work for us. That's good things. I'm wondering if we should, I've been wondering since the Twitter has been going downhill, if we should move to like threads or something, but I think that's more of a discussion for him to something for him to think about, not something for us to talk about while he's not here. But that was something that
Speaking of
came to mind.
Twitter, we have or we had a little Twitter, I don't know, last tweet box on the forum. At the bottom, I don't know if anyone ever scrolls far enough to see it, but it was there. It just these days it just says follow us on Twitter. It used to show our last tweet, but because of Twitter's recent business decisions, the API for them no longer works. So there's no way to get our last tweet. And there also used to be like a tweet on the front page of the site, and I don't think that works anymore for the same reason.
Yeah, it's still there. The most recent tweet is James Heaney talks about the future of open format and a reminder that OTF is now modern.
Yeah, that one is basically the last one we successfully got from their API, I think.
So I'm guessing now there's a paywall on that API.
Essentially, yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But that has to
right.
do like that it's tied into the communications part. So I just wanted to mention it there. Like it looks like it's not working anymore, and I don't know that we're ever going to make that work again. So those might just be little things that people saw, but they will be gone probably from our sites.
Yeah, so maybe we should make those disappear then, since it's not going to be updating anymore. Just that, like that could be on when you guys find a second to take that down, please do. So that might be a thing for Daniel to look into if we want to go to if we want to continue working on a Twitter-like platform. But again, that maybe I'll make a note of that for our next board meeting and put that on new business. All right, and then so next one is operations. Speaking of websites and such.
Yep. So one thing I need to do is make a not project plan, but more of like a project tracker, because there are enough things that need to be done or want to be done that we don't have time for on the programming team. Like we just don't. Our team, I don't know. There's just not enough hours in the day to do day jobs plus everything else we want to do. So I need to make an actual list of all the projects we have at some stage, and then figure out the right priorities there. And Charlie had mentioned the reward store, and that I think is probably going to be the #1 priority, but it's hard to make it the #1 priority when there are bug fixes that happen instead, So probably bug fixes are always going to be the #1 priority, and then other projects. But so the reason I brought this up was that 2E errata files have been talked about lately, and that was a thing that was on my plate. But the high-res version is such a pain in the butt to create. It has to be a manual project, and there's just no time for me to do that. I don't think there's time for anyone to do that work. I don't think that is time well spent by anyone. And one of my projects has been to try to make it's technical, but a PDF extractor and reconstitutor to try to pull the old errata out and put it into a new PDF along with our new erratas as they get made. And well, that's one of the things that has just been languishing on my personal to-do list because there's just so many other things to do. What else?
Yeah, and that's one of those questions, and I know Wani has also been wrestling with this question of, you know, errata and how do we present it, how do we store it, how do we communicate it, that I always wonder if the juice is worth the squeeze on that. And I know that there are people who are like, I print the whole thing every single time, you know, I put the whole sets out. And for me, like, I've finally given up on that because of the time it takes to print a set and assemble all the cards and things that I'd rather be doing, and then just saying, okay, well, from here on out, whenever I build a physical deck, I just print a deck, even if I own, you know, if I own all the copies of At What Cost that I need that are going to go in this deck, I'm just going to print the whole damn thing because it's faster and easier than assembling a deck, you know, finding the cards in my collection, assembling the deck, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, so that's one of those things that, you know, is the juice worth the squeeze? Do we, you know, is it good enough? You know, is it a big enough reward for our players who want to print that high res errata file versus the amount of time it's going to take to assemble that thing?
There's definitely a quality difference. So I won't say that there's no benefit to having the high res one. There's definitely a print quality difference in between that file and like what the deck builder does, even with our highest resolution card images. Text is a lot clearer on the high res one when you print, which is really important in a card game. So like there is value to having the high res errata PDFs available. But it always comes down to, is that, like you said, is that juice worth the squeeze on the content creation end of it? And it hasn't been for me for the past year, and that's why it hasn't been updated, because other juice is worth more squeeze, bug fixes and things like that. But this is one of those things that's going to be added to my project list to say, where does it rank, and is this a thing we can actually feasibly get done? So those of you asking about the 2E errata files, that's me, and I got to figure it out. So what else? Shipping, warehouse stuff. There's going to be a big shipment of European stuff going out today. So Kaiser, I know, is concerned about getting his stuff in time, but I'm going to be shipping it via UPS this time, which will be because we've had USPS and customs issues on the European end, because for whatever reason USPS is not making it abundantly clear with the customs forms. So I'm going to try UPS this time, which is both faster and, well, it's more expensive, but I'm doing it in a bulk thing. Kaiser, you'll get your stuff. You'll get your stuff in time. It'll be hopefully weeks in advance. But all the other Europeans too, your stuff is, Shark, I know you have stuff, you're waiting for stuff too, but it's all going to go in one shipment and then it'll be dispersed.
For me, it's no problem. The players here know they wait, I collect it, get it later. As long as I get it, it's no problem.
Yep. The problem has been with the customs stuff. So that's been the biggest delay. It sits in customs while they try to figure out whether or not USPS sent them the forms. So, and even though they get filled out, I don't know what USPS is doing. They're being garbage lately. So anyway, there's that. I don't have any new news on a raffle. Dan was still putting stuff in the system last time I saw, but there's no date set. So I know folks will ask, but there is no date set. What else? So Marcus was doing a lot of fixes on the tournament processing and rankings and stuff for the different games. Those should be working now again. Main issue was we've hit the point where we have so many records in the system that the system couldn't process them all at once. So it would take too long, process would time out on the server, and then it'd be stuck in no man's land. So he put in a bunch of work breaking it up so that it would run smaller chunks, and then based on, it would recompile the smaller chunks into a new calculation, and on and on and on. So that should be working now. If it doesn't, well, I'll have to take another try at it. Yeah. Am I forgetting anything? Anybody got any other things I can think of? All right. Well, I think that's me
I
then.
feel like there was something that I needed to be thinking about, but I don't know what it is. Except I can say for promo production, since I guess this is operations, hopefully once I get back from my little mini vacation next week, I will finish the rest of the series 23 and series S promos. I got 10 more sets of those that need to be cut and assembled. So those should be done soon. So like I said, I'm working on the ambassador promos right now, then the other sets. So there'll be more available. I do think we need to do a reprint of series 22 and series R because if nothing else, I don't appear to have ever bought any. I don't have any, like I have none in my own collection, and I don't have any in my binder as giveaways. So I'm wondering if I know I made them. I know I made them. So I don't, but I think people might want to be able to order those as well.
And also we'll have to put in another order of buttons for the tournament kits.
Buttons. Who has the PDF files? If somebody can send me those, do we have a file?
We'll have to figure that out.
How are they?
All on the shared Google Drive. I know I've shared them with you guys before.
Gotcha.
They're not PDFs, they're images.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Speaking of promos, is there any chance that we could switch to having like 2 kits available at the same time? Like you're talking about like the last
usually
kit
do,
and the current kit. And then
we usually do.
Yeah.
The problem with the last one, I think, was or I don't know if it's the current one or last one. It's sold out. Like there were just none left. So I went back in and I added, I think the one before that is available. And if it's not, it might have just been that the date passed that I set. So I might have to go back and push the end date out further. But usually I've been trying to do that, to have 2 of them available. Is that what you mean, Charlie? Or do you mean have 2 current ones? Like we
2
print
current
and put
ones,
out 2?
yeah. Like we currently print 2 sets of them. And then when the next set comes out, we stop printing. So I guess there could be potentially 3 for sale at the same time. But like we actively reprint, in this case, R and S. And then when T is ready, we would stop printing R and start printing S and T, and then repeat. And that way there's different options and people have a longer chance to buy them.
Yeah, I think for the past,
support.
I think the past year and a half, we've been doing 2 at a time. And if there was one point where one of them sold out entirely, and I just did not notice that to set up the other previous one. So if that has happened again, I will look and I'll add the second one back in.
Yeah, I'm okay with getting 22 and R out again as well. So next time we do a printout, I'll ask Jeremy to run over, and wish I would have thought of that. Wish I would have thought of that when I sent him the request to reprint the Worlds promo for 2E, because we had a pretty bad typo on that one. So that got fixed though. what was it? And yeah, I've got, oh, and I had Jeremy print a special thing for the Tribbles World Champion. So I'm not going to say what that is, but it's going to be a treat in the binder, or maybe not. Maybe they'll want to get rid of it entirely. So we'll see what people say about that. But what was, and
So, okay,
Justin,
I
did
just
you
checked.
ever order paper did you ever order foil paper?
Yep, I ordered it this morning, so he'll get it next week, so we can get that RNS or RN22 scheduled to get printed.
Yeah, could you make sure to send him a tracking number for that when you get it?
Mm-hmm.
So
right.
Charlie, based on what you said, I just checked. So we've got Q out of stock, S out of stock, 23 out of stock. These are all items that are currently available to requisition, but they're just out of stock. We've got 23 up and 20 up as available, which means we're missing a 1E kit. So I'll have to figure out which one I have stock of to put back up and in to fill that gap. So thank you for mentioning that.
All right, well, I guess I will try to work tonight then on cutting those 10 sheets of series 23 and S that I have, which I might be able to do after we should be able to do that. I don't have any pressing duties this evening, so I can at least get those cut to get them started. So we'll have more of those in stock as soon as we can. But yeah, we'll need that print, that paper order. Jeremy apparently keeps a set of his own stock for in case we run out in the middle of a print run. He has a personal set that he's ordered and kept for emergencies. And so he says he'll restock from what comes in on this latest order.
Is there a reason we can't like keep double what we normally do, and when we get to the halfway point reorder it instead of waiting till we're out to reorder it? Like,
So I did not realize we went through that much paper. I think I looked back to the records. We had ordered, I think, 4 boxes of paper, which is more than we've ever ordered at a time. Usually it's just been 2. I doubled it because the pricing was low. I didn't realize we went through 4 boxes of paper in about a year and a half. That's never happened that much. We did up the order, but we printed a lot, and it might have had to do with the issues we had with the having to reprint the foils from the last project a couple years, or last year. So I don't know, but yeah.
But also during COVID, things were not going that fast. But then so for the past year, I feel like the requisitions have increased a lot more than. I mean, maybe it's back to normal. I don't specifically remember after 3 years, but like during the pandemic, things were very slow, and then they got picked up really fast, and things were selling out a lot faster than I would have expected.
So you mean it's been like
I just-
everything else?
I just don't understand why it's not a cost issue or a we don't have the funds issue. It's like, why is this constantly something that we're talking about? Like, it feels like this is the 3rd or 4th time we've had to deal with this issue in the last couple of years, and I'm just like, why are we like, let's just get a bunch and hang on to it,
Right.
Yeah. Well, we can.
And I did, but I ordered double what we normally order, and so we just went through it all. I mean, I ordered double. Like I didn't skimp on it. Like I ordered double. So
right.
Well,
but at the
we'll
point
just
where
make sure that we'll let Jeremy know that when we start to get about halfway through the stock, let us know and we'll order then. Because
That's all
it
I was
wasn't until
asking,
we
yeah.
were out that I knew that we were out. So, all right. All right. Anything else for ops? I mean, I can, I guess, Ambassador Corps is under ops still. That's not under communications, right?
Thought that was executive now.
No, we talked about that. It's not under me, but I guess that can be something to add for reorg, but that can go under me. But I am, we did I went through and looked to see which of the ambassadors were still active, and we had several on the pages who haven't been on the site for years. So I did ask Robin to to just send them a PM, say, hey, we're gonna, are you still interested in being an ambassador? And I think probably they're not going to say anything at all, and we'll take them out of the core. So I guess we can say, hey, if you're in a region that doesn't have an ambassador and you would like to become an ambassador, please contact Robin1234 on the boards, our chief ambassador. So next is organized play. Chris asked me to just give a quick report on organized play. So he can't be here because he is participating in organized play. Land of 10,000 Champions regional championship is this weekend. So that's going to be, those will be buys for next year's Continentals, or if anybody who wins there happens to decide to go to Kaiserfest, they could use their buy at Kaiserfest. We've got, so last weekend was the North American Continental Championships in Seattle, Washington. Thank you very much to Justin here for doing the host duties, finding the Sleep in SeaTac, which hosted our event in their lovely conference room in the basement. Actually, it was a pretty nice basement conference room, as these things go. And so that we had 11 people for 1E and 12 people for 2E, Justin?
Yep, and both side events did fire, so we had 16 people, I think 16 or so people playing track both days.
So yeah, so a good turnout. We had a respectable number of Canadians come down. We had people from all over the US. We had at least 3 or 4 people who are recently returned to the game who came to the event. So shout out to Boromir Borg, Orion, Victory is Life, and Azagal, I think, are our newly returned players. It was great to meet you all. Boromir brought his son. Daniel brought Ace, who, as always, is delightful to hang out with. So it was a really nice weekend. And Ross just put in an article advertising the videos. So fair warning, it's hard to capture games on a webcam. So they are there, but some of it's shaky. But it's
I'm gonna work on that. Trying to put together some sort of travelable camera rig where we can get some more consistent video. I know Kaiser working on it in Europe, and yeah, so we got that at least.
Yeah. So we've got regionals are ongoing. So again, as usual, regionals now go all the way through September. So if you have not yet hosted a regional this year and you're interested in doing so, talk to your organized play coordinator for your continent. That's Michael Van Bremen for North America. That is Julius Melhart for Europe. Contact John Carter if you want to do another online regional. We've had several there. He is our online OP coordinator. And if you are elsewhere in the world, please contact Chris Sonstaby to get your regional app in. Now, one of the things I'm working on coming up, organized play wise, coming up August 4th and 5th are the US National Championships back at Gen Con for the first time in the last couple of years. So we have got, don't be fooled by the site pre-registrations. We've got ticketing for all of those. So I'm running 1E on Friday and 2E Nationals and Tribbles Nationals on Saturday. So I've got quite a few tickets sold for all of those. The sealed events, yes, I have sealed product. The sealed events are all sold out. Turns out I have 10 enough product for 10 OTSDs. So if you come and bring a generic ticket, I got first come, first served on the OTSD. I do not have enough to do. I got to look a little closer, see what I can find, but not sure I have enough to do extras on the 2E sealed event on Friday. But the 1E event, the 1E sealed event, OTSD on Saturday, I can run that. So we've got.
If we have the printed out OTSD cards, I can bring more. What we need, 3 Premier and an AU or something like that. I can bring more of that.
I'm
if we
doing
need
quite
more.
a few more. I don't want to push it past 2 more because I don't want to. I don't know how much space they're going to give us, so I don't want it to be. I don't want to have to squish too much in. That's why I didn't want to go past more than 2.
Makes sense.
All right. So the first edition national championship, I've got 6 people registered in the Gen Con system. Second edition national championship, I've got 5. So we've got plenty of space. So I've got those set up for up to 16. For Tribbles, we've got 7. So we're getting quite a few people. Tribbles at 10. We got a couple Tribbles at 10 events that are have plenty of people. I love seeing these names that I only ever see at Gen Con. So we've got we have people who know us at Gen Con and they come and play with us, and they don't necessarily do a lot of, they don't necessarily participate in the they don't participate in the CC too much, but they know to come and play at Gen Con. So that's kind of interesting. That's always kind of interesting and fun to see those people coming in. All right, so US National Championships are coming up. That's in a couple of weeks at Gen Con. The next weekend is the first edition Continentals at Kaiserfest. Apparently there are 17 people pre-registered now for Kaiserfest. I think he's getting a little nervous about how is he going to pack that many people into his house? But well, that's I don't know. I don't want to speak for Kaiser too much, but that's turned into an amazing thing there. So let's see. So that's Kaiserfest. I think there's not gonna be a 2E and Tribbles Euros until it's gonna have to happen after Worlds. Because we don't have anything nailed down right now. And I don't know what Chris and Julius have been working out for that. And of course, Worlds are coming up in September 21st. No, excuse me, September 22nd, 23rd, 24th are Worlds. So in Leeds in the UK. So I'm very excited that I'm going to get to go this year. I'm going to get subs from my class. That's crazy. It's the school year. Brian, you and Lisa are gonna be there, right? Yep. Chuck, are you gonna be able to make it? Awesome. So yeah, Worlds and Leeds is really gonna be a fantastic time. I don't know what we're looking at with pre-registration there, but let's see. I'm seeing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 2E players pre-registered right now. I'm seeing several folks coming over from across the pond. Fritz needs to fix his flag. He still has the South African flag. I know he's in London now. So we've got I'm looking forward to seeing some people I haven't met before at 2E and 1E World. So that's gonna be fantastic. Really good time. Okay, any questions about organized play? All right, Justin. Give us our financial status, please.
Yep, well, yeah, since the last board meeting has been pretty much getting Continentals organized, getting the trophies ordered, getting stuff cut and prizes ordered, which was great. I'm glad everyone had a great time. It was huge, huge success. Just looking at the accounts and everything does look pretty good. It looks like the PayPal situation has finally gotten fixed, so that will make life a little bit easier. I've got this stuff all automated to move the money without manually having to do it. So that's good. We want to keep the money in the bank, not in the PayPal. And yeah, just ordered. Yep, the shipment that Jeremy will be getting next week. Looks like we ordered 1,000 sheets of paper, and if we go through that in a year, I'll be shocked. That should hold us for at least 2 years. 1,000 sheets. That probably more than 2 years, but we will be fully stocked for the foreseeable future. And then we'll get those buttons ordered. So for some pretty decent expenses this month, but it'll obviously pay off in the long run, and we won't have to do it for a while. So yeah. So yeah, we'll get that. And Jeremy, if you're watching, I'll get you that ship tracking info so you can track the paper, so you know when it gets there.
All right, so we had thank you, Justin. Any questions for Justin? All right, so then up next, got button production. We already touched on this a little bit. Do we want to start putting years on the buttons again for the organized play stuff? I know it's a bigger pain in the butt, but it does make them slightly more collectible.
But it also makes them significantly more of a waste, as in we always produce more than people take. So we're spending money on things more people don't want than do.
Doesn't that beg the question, should we be doing them at all?
Well, we've been making batches that don't have a year, right? So they last until the next year, and then more people can take some, and then if there's some left, they last until the next year. But if we put a year on them, no one's very rarely is anyone ever going to get one of the past year ones. I have a whole box full of past year labeled buttons. I could just send them out by the handful to anyone, but I that's why I'm against putting years on the more general ones, like what are they, regionals? And no, regionals still get them. I don't remember now, but sorry.
No, we took the years off of all the OP buttons.
Mm-hmm.
The one that's different is the master's button, because we've changed the color.
Yeah, they're themed anyway.
The theme. Did we ever order orange ones for
Yes, I got a
running?
big bag of them, or two big bags of them. So
okay.
Those came with the playmats.
Yep.
Okay. All right, good. So actually I'll need some of those. I don't think I have any of them for nationals.
Okay.
So if you're coming,
Yep,
Brian,
I'll bring some. Yep.
Okay, awesome. Awesome, thank you.
But back to the original question. My feeling is not to put years on the other ones. I know that there are people who want the ones with years on them, but
they're few and far between.
There are far fewer than the people who don't care, and then those buttons sit around and it's just an expense for no gain, basically.
Well, again, I ask, if there are so many people that don't care, do we stop doing the buttons for OP? Or do we switch to something else? Or do we spend some money and, make a standard trophy that we use at all of our level 3 and higher events type thing? Is there a better use of our time and money than making these buttons that are sort of not that important to people. And I mean, I guess the question extends to tournament kits too, but last I saw, people still like those and trade those.
So I'm not saying that so there are enough players. I think the buttons are valuable. I don't know that there are enough players that care about a specific year's variant of the exact same button to make that variation of them worthwhile. Does that make sense as a distinction?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, that does make sense. Yeah. So just, looking for,
Mm-hmm.
I'm like I said, in the 1E area, we're questioning a lot of stuff. So that's in my mindset lately. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
do we want to change things up and make different, there's always been players that have loved the buttons. And there've always been players that don't. And there is a trade market for buttons, so I don't want to take the kneecaps out of it, but just a question to ask is if it's something we should still be doing.
Yeah.
On the buttons, Jeremy is still he still accepts packages at the 114th Lane Northwest, correct? The 1155.
What are
Oh,
you
what?
talking
Just
about?
Justin, don't say addresses online because that might be his house. No, ask that offline. I have his addresses. I have his addresses on my phone. I can tell you after the meeting. Okay, so actually that leads in I think to the very last thing that's here on new business, which is long-term plan for the continuing committee, building out a long-term plan for the building out the long-term plan for this organization so that we know where we're going and we can communicate that with our members and build in and I think this is an appropriate time since we've been around for more than 15 years now to do the thing for all of us to do the things that Charlie's doing in first edition right now, which is let's talk about in our own departments why we set our priorities, set where we want to go, what do we want to be doing in 3 years, in 5 years, in 10 years. I want to build in these sorts of ideas of resilience and reflection and what's working, what's not working, because I think it's a good time for us to sit down and think about that stuff and think about things like, okay, are the bylaws working for us as they're written? Because it's been about 5 years now since we implemented those. So I think it's a good time to start looking through that stuff and saying, okay, what's working there? What's not working there? And, for like my thing, are we going to continue? Do we need to continue? Are we going to continue doing the period of review the way we do it? So I don't think that there's any sort of actionable item on this today, but I wanted to just sort of put it in people's ears and ask for your feedback on, what do you think about this idea of generating a long-term plan, something that we can publish on the site and say, these are the things that we want to accomplish. This is where we want to be, et cetera, et cetera.
I mean, I think it's a great idea, but practical experience tells me somebody needs to be in charge of it. And we need to decide as a board, what are the deliverables going to look like, and then break up to let people do the work and then have a deadline and come back together. So, I mean, if somebody's willing to run the show there, then
right. And I think that as executive officer, and because I'm proposing this, that's probably my bailiwick. Even if this goes past when I'm board chair stop being board chair in March next year. But yeah, I think that's in my realm. of responsibilities to put together that sort of plan. So I would be willing to start to generate these sorts of timelines and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I've done a long-term plan for one and I'm in the midst of redoing it, so I know how much work it is. So you just tell me what you need and when you need it, and I'll make sure to have everything ready. Other than that, I can't speak to the other departments and how valuable it would be. I'm down.
Okay. Anybody else have thoughts?
It's a good idea. That's my only thoughts.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I think it's important to let everybody know that where this is going. Okay. So did anybody else have anything for new business?
Not that I can think of.
So as a public comment, I will mention, Ross said, I would like to take a moment to acknowledge that while this meeting is happening, there are two major strikes happening today. The Writers Guild of America and SAG, that's the Screen Actors Guild, are striking for better pay in the streaming era. This is from Faithful Reader. I'm reading this verbatim. While Trek had boldly led technologies without streaming, the scrumptious buffet we have had for just under the past 6 years would have been mere morsels, if that. We have attracted some of the biggest names in the business, including one in-demand actress who has her choice of projects but wants to stay in Trek. The requests are not unreasonable and they deserve fair compensation. So that was a public comment from Ross Fertel, Faithful Readers. So thank you for that, Ross.
Do you like Miles O'Brien? Be a union man.
Hey, I am right behind these. I am a proud union member. I literally carry my union card in my wallet. So, and some of the things that have been on the that apparently the studios have been wanting have been like, oh my, yeah, no, just no.
There's a little Bond villainy going on thing.
It is. I mean, it's gross stuff like.
I should say that because we can't be involved in anything like this officially, that this is just my opinion and I'm not speaking for the group or any other entity as may be defined by some legal bullshit. So
yeah. So no, I'm
I can
right
see
there
Brian
with
starting to panic. Just see that cloud of panicking happening.
We'll stop now. All right. Well, thank you for everybody coming out today. Can we have if we have no other business, can we have a motion to adjourn, please?
I move to adjourn.
Second.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, cool. Thanks everybody for watching. We will see you in a couple of months, probably next